Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. I am excited to be here with you guys. Um, so let me first apologize right out the gate. That you may hear an announcement here or there or whatever the case may be. Because it is an early morning airport run. But I am here to welcome you all to the Hope and Her podcast. It's the Hope and Her podcast recording, and we are in the segment First Fruits to 40. So it is the 40-day countdown. Wait, 40-day countdown to my 40th birthday. And Today's day 21. And we, Lord, the Lord is showing me the things that I need to adjust in order to serve Him in this capacity because it just happens and it happens that way. So I'm excited about the lessons that are learned along the way. I'm excited about our guest. I'm going to bring her on without further ado because, again, like I mentioned, I am in the airport and you all may hear, I'm going to try to mute my mic when the announcements come up so it's not too loud on you all. But listen, it's one of those you got to do what you got to do. I was going to try to be in the lounge this morning. The lounge wasn't open when I got here because it is early, and I needed to be closer to the gate. So it was a lot of things happening. But anyways, all of that to say, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited about my guest and about what she has to offer for First Fruits to 40. So this person, I'll ask her how we know each other and all of that when she gets on. She's a new guest to the show. My homegirl, my sister, my colleague, my peer, which is crazy. Yeah, man, life, right? So this is Marshae Anderson. She is a fellow therapist. She's a Saginaw Valley graduate. Um, what else, Marshae? So many things I could say about her, right? But I'm excited to have you here. So good morning, Marshae. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you for saying yes at 6 a.m. Like I know you had to, sacrifice to be here. That's what first fruits are all about, to some degree. And so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. The first question I ask everybody when we get in here is how do we know each other? Tell the people how we know each other. Let's get started.
Whew, that's a good one. I like that. Let's see. We have met each other on the campus of Saginaw Valley. I think my point of view was when, let's see, I think it was an event that Saginaw Valley had. I think it was like when we first came on campus and things of that nature. And I think you were at a choir table. I think you were offering Saginaw Valley's offering to join the choir. And so I think me at the time and a friend of mine came to the table, and I think that you were like trying to get us and offering us to get to the choir. And at that point, I wasn't interested in the choir, but you said, just come anyways, just come. It doesn't matter. You don't have to sing. And so like just that encounter, I think at that point, I guess that was the beginning of our friendship. So
That
that,
was the beginning of our friendship. I was
yeah.
okay. So I okay, yes. So the choir table, like one of the things that happens happens, of course, at the beginning of the year. Of course, all the organizations have their tables and their recruiting and all the things. And I didn't so much remember this until you just said it.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I remember doing several choir tables where we had individuals to we were trying to get individuals to join the choir. And it's interesting that you say that because one of the things that I was always clear about in my role as the president of the choir during that time was like, this is ministry, right? And
Mhm.
so it's funny that you say you ain't have to sing, just come on. Because
That's
that sounds so much like me, right? That's
um,
like, don't worry about it. Like, you can join the choir. You don't have to
yeah.
sing.
And I sat there the whole time. I sat there.
You did, and it was I actually talk about the group of people who um came in and sat who had absolutely no intention on joining the choir or singing or any other things, but they would come and they would sit. Um, wow, interesting. Okay, cool. So we're gonna talk about it. And I know they sat because the ministry was real, so I'm excited about that. Okay, so let's
Mhm.
start there. Let's say good morning to the people Good morning, everybody. Good morning to everybody that is watching the show. Good morning to everybody that's catching it live. Good morning to everybody who will catch it on the replay. And good morning to people who will never say good morning. If you are catching it on the replay, make sure that you say hashtag replay. We got Janae, Queen of the World, here saying good morning. Now, listen, I know that this is God's number one miracle because, listen, Janae always says, I am not on the first page of the wake up list. She is not a morning person like that. And we got Dawn Stevens in with us. So I'm excited about her being here as well this morning. And anybody else, I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited that you're getting this message. All right. When you think of first fruits, Marshae, what do you think of?
First fruits. I think, as you stated, it's like your sacrifice to God. It's like the thing that comes off the top. So, it's the thing that, again, it's a sacrifice. So, as the 6 a.m. But I think about, it's just a sacrifice to God, and it's moving towards something, a big blessing or something. So when I think about for first fruit, I think about like what's the thing that you can give not only as a sacrifice, but what is the thing that you can give God off the top? You know what I mean? And after everything else, what's the first thing? So it could be an offering, could be your time, it could be whatever it is that's a sacrifice, but it comes off the top. So
I like that it comes first. One of the things that we talked about was first fruits being a lifestyle. Talk
mm,
about first fruits not just being about the dollar, the coin, about whatever. It's not first fruits is not the only fruits that you'll give. First fruits is this lifestyle, right? It's this lifestyle of prioritizing God.
mm,
And we've talked about lots of things on the show. We've talked about lots of things. We've talked about wealth. We've talked about finances. We've talked about health. We've talked about moving forward. We have talked about saying no. We've talked about how a lot of different things can be, a part of this first fruits piece, right? And so, as we consider, as we consider first fruits, what do you consider your first fruits
mm, that's good.
most readily?
I think my first fruits would be um, in the morning when I wake up, my devotional time, my prayer time, my journal time, my stillness time. I think that is first fruit because in 2024 we always busy. We're always we have to get going, and so I feel like now we're in this hustle bustle of things, and I think that it is a sacrifice to get up and say, okay, let's journal, let's keep this routine up, let's work out, let's do all these things to help us get our day started. So I think those are my first fruits, of sitting still in the morning, recognizing what am I'm doing, what am I feeling, and how can I navigate my day at 100%. So like just getting up and praying is one of the things that is a first fruit to me.
Let me ask you this question. Does
Mhm.
anything ever get in the way of first fruits for you? Or like it's first fruits like always there and ready?
No, it does. It's a struggle. I don't want to get up and start journaling and praying. I don't want to get up. You know what I mean? Like I don't. Naturally I want to sleep in. I don't want to have an obligation to say, "Oh, let me get up and do this." Sometimes I just want to get up and just get up and be. But there are certain things that I know that can enhance my not only my natural life but my spiritual life. So those are some of the things that I do. But yes, I just don't want to.
I was thinking we was getting ready to have a gate change. And I don't do not have the energy for a gate change. All right, I'm sorry about that. But yes, so yeah, absolutely. Things sometimes get in the way. And so here's a question that I have for people like, what are some things that get in the way of first fruits for you all? Put it in the chat. Let us know that you're here. Like I say hi, your hi matters. Because for me, like just like this morning, right?
Mhm.
Like things like shifted and turned. Now I did prioritize first fruits, but it didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to turn out, if that makes sense. Like I had this whole plan where I was getting ready to be in a whole different place and all the things. And so um this is where it is and this is what's turned out. And so that was one of the things that I was talking that I just really wanted to kind of highlight some is distractions to first fruits, right? And um we talked the other day, and it was Dawn who said, or I don't know if it was I who said, but it was in that conversation between me and Dawn that it was said, expect distractions, right? When
Mm,
you're trying to offer, when you're trying to give it off, listen, expect distractions.
for sure.
Um, what up, though? So my pastor is in the room. He said, "What up, though?" For those of you that's not from Detroit, that means hi. So hi to you all.
Yeah.
Hi to you
What up,
as
though?
well. And then Janae says, Marshae said it right. I don't want to. Sometimes our own will gets in the way of
Hmm.
our offering, right? And so one of the things I believe that, well, so let's talk a little bit about distractions. What things are the most distracting for you?
Probably sleep. Probably sleep because I do have a full-time schedule. It's like, ooh, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, and I should prioritize that way more. Probably sleep, again, our own will. Um, I think that like sometimes I can be honest, I just want to mindlessly scroll. Sometimes I would just want to watch TV and lay there. So I think that sometimes that hinders me from getting to the first fruit. And again, my own will is just, I just don't want to do it.
Give me an example of a time in your life that you don't mind sharing,
Hmm.
when distractions got the best of you.
Mm.
And it doesn't even have to be like literally like your specifically your first fruit, but when a distraction got the best of you.
Um, I think that was probably that's a good question. I think that I gotta think back because I'm pretty focused now. But I think that I think maybe like a couple of years ago, where I think I got discouraged. I think I got really discouraged, and I was just like distracted with every and everything, being busy, trying to do too much. And not necessarily focus on my goals. I think that I got distracted with hanging out. I got distracted with a social increase in social life. And so I was just doing any and everything. And I got really discouraged because I was like, okay, this ain't happening soon enough. This ain't happening fast enough for me. And so I got really, really distracted. But the bottom line, I was discouraged. And so, which means that I was just, yeah, and so, I think that's true, Pastor. I think that that's true. Taking on unnecessary responsibilities too. That was just me, and so I was just moving and doing and social life, work, yeah, saying yes to any and everything. And so, now I understand it doesn't work for me.
Listen, let's talk about what Pastor Yogi said, taking on extra responsibilities. Like
Come on now.
sometimes, listen, come through, right? Like, because sometimes, like, because we have skills, we have talents, or whatever the case may be, it's real
Mhm.
easy for people to come to us for whatever the things are. We talked about my preference versus your preference versus my priority.
Come
And I
on.
think that's worth saying again. Like, just because I'm your preference for something to get completed does not mean that it's my priority. And it's up to me. Part of my
Mhm.
responsibility is to, to stop those distractions from happening, or when they happen, if I can't stop them from happening, at least prioritize, put some things into place so that I'm not constantly walking in a space of just being distracted. Um I'm not constantly looking for the next thing to do. I'm not constantly looking for things to take up space, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes we look for things to take up space.
Mhm.
And when we look for things to take up space, like sometimes I believe that God is asking us to stop looking for stuff, that
Mhm.
He will give us what it is that He wants us to do. It makes me think about Abraham when God was like, "Yo, I want you to go to this place." Abraham like, "Where you want me to go?" And he like, "I'll tell you." Like, just pack up your stuff and I'll tell you where to go. And
Mhm.
so I think when we have that kind of relationship with God, it's easier for us to not, be in a space where we can get distracted.
Mhm.
All right. So, one of my biggest things is, and I talk about this all the time, like with this idea of hope, is that we have to take an honest observation of ourselves.
Mhm.
Um, and then have some level of practical execution. So that's what hope stands for me. Honest observation, practical execution. Okay. So when you take an honest look at yourself and you said, like you said, I'm focused now. Great. The Lord didn't deliver it. But before you were focused, when you took an honest look at yourself, what was something that you were able to do that would help you with the distractions? What was the practical execution for you?
One is just doing it. So like I'm one to okay, I'm personally one to like okay, fall through the distractions, make a mistake, and then I take an evaluation and say okay, what happened here? What is it something that I can do in the future to make it better? So a little bit of the solution focus, and so just taking an evaluation, I'll say okay, I'm spending this much money. I'm need. I should have been saving this much money. I should have been doing this. I shouldn't have said yes, and taking an evaluation of okay, why did you say yes to these people? You know what I mean? What is that? How did you benefit from that? You know what I mean? So taking an inventory, that was one of the practical things, and then executing it. And so I'm a person, once I say I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And so and so after evaluating, I was just like, okay, this is what I have to do and to get out of this. And also staying true to what it is that I want to do, because again, distractions are still there. I could still say yes, I could still, you know, fall back there, but just staying consistent and disciplined um has helped.
So I love the idea of consistency. So let's bring that idea to the table right
Mhm.
after here. We get to have our morning announcements. Listen, y'all, we got lots of stuff that is coming up. I mean, and it's a lot of stuff coming up. I got a book coming out, Leverage and Hope. I'm excited about bringing you what that looks like, and it's coming soon. Very, very grateful to God for the process of that. Never ever wanted to write a book, so let me just put that out there. But when the Lord started downloading what he wanted said, man, listen, I am in awe of how God loves me, and like not even just how God loves me, but how God likes me. Okay,
Mhm.
so I want y'all to be on the lookout for the pre-sale information for that. That it will be coming up. I said by the end of this week, so that means I got to get it out by tomorrow, and we're gonna do what the Lord has told us to do in that space. And then on Sunday, if you are in the Detroit area, I need you to run. Don't walk to the Home of Love. Home of Love. I'm about to make something up. I don't remember the name of the church. It was not a church. It's a situation, but it's called. It's for this book signing. Dawn Stevens, who has been here many times, she is our resident expert on getting out of God's way. It is her book signing and monologues. That's on Sunday, September 15th, and it's from 1 to 3 p.m. So when y'all get out of church, I need y'all to go to Home of Love if you anywhere near Detroit. Make that happen. Like that's gonna be a great thing for people, right? My New Yorkers wellness event that's happening today in I don't know where it's at, but if you want to know about a wellness event in New York, especially Brooklyn, let me know and I'll make sure that you have that information. That's where I'll be today. I'll be back in Detroit tomorrow. And then we'll talk about some of the other things that is coming up. Also, I love to give away things for my birthday, so I got a book that I'm giving away. It's called Launch the Legacy. It's about creating a business brand that builds generational wealth. Okay, now here's the thing: I wrote the first chapter of this book, and it's called Finally Living My Dreams. And I wrote this a couple years ago. So, listen, if you want that book, I just need you to put in the chat, I want that book, and we'll get those books out to you. If that is you, let me know that you want it and you can have it because it's my birthday coming up, so get hype about the birthday. And then the final announcement is the Aruba retreat that is happening 10/3 to 10/7, 4 nights in Aruba with me and the Lord, mostly the Lord. Okay, mostly the Lord is gonna be there. But the Lord is gonna allow me to facilitate some things as we take our capes off, as we rest, as we talk about spiritual disciplines, as we um celebrate, because we're gonna have a good time. Like we're gonna have a ball. If you know me, you know I like to have a good time. So if you think you want to go to Aruba, 10/3 to 10/7, it's 2 spots left. I don't know what the Lord is holding these 2 spots for, but it is 2 spots left. Um don't If it's something that is stopping you and you're saying, I want to be in Aruba 10/3 to 10/7, let me encourage you and hear my heart on this. we can work through whatever that thing is. Unless you don't have a passport. I mean, even still, you still got time to get a passport before then. Actually, it's gonna be a rush, but it's you can still get your passport before then. Um, but if it's money, if you're scared to fly, if you scared whatever, but you feel like the Lord is calling you to this place, you need to be in the room for that. Like, I don't know how to tell y'all that that is going down. Like, for real, for real. So get at me on that, or you can visit arubajoy.com. That's arubajoy.com for that. All right. So those are our weekly morning announcements. Govern yourselves accordingly for that. Let's get back into this conversation. Hey, y'all. Hey, to everybody who is in the audience. Say hi to me because your hi matters. If you're catching this on the replay, I pray that you are hearing what it is that you need to hear, and that you are getting what you need. We're talking about distractions. We're talking about the things that come to stop us from the assignment that God has on our life. How many of you have been caught up in some things that have stopped you from the call that God has on your life? And maybe it didn't stop you. Maybe it just put you on pause. But how many of y'all know that timing is about everything? And so my pastor said, preference versus priority. Act like this y'all first time hearing it when I say it tomorrow. And what we said about preference versus priority is that sometimes other people's preferences can become our distractions. And we don't have to allow other people's preferences to be our priority.
Mm,
We get to choose, we get to prioritize our time, our life, our talents, our skills. And prioritizing is a first fruit.
mm.
We're not obligated. We're not obligated to anything but what God has given for us to do. And when we realize that we are fallible humans, it makes it that much easier. Excuse me. It makes it that much easier for us to move how God wants us to move, right? Whew. So that was a lot when I talked and I said that real fast. But as we dive into this last few minutes of this segment, Marshae, what is your take on um, how distractions um, can shape the way, I guess the best way to ask that question, um, or can cost us our time, can shape the way we move or cost us our time?
I like it. I really like what you said. Like, just because it's your preference doesn't mean it's my priority. Like, I really love that because it's true. Like, I can be distracted by saying so many yeses, or I could be distracted by not honoring my choice, or honoring who I am, and honoring if I wanted to say yes, because we can seep into, like, why are we saying yes? And so just because it's not your preference. And so oftentimes I've said so many yeses to people, and I didn't really check in to see if I should have said the yes. You know what I mean? And so now my motto is, even as a counselor and even as I'm in the field, and so a lot of people would say, "Oh, I need your therapist. You're a good therapist. I should consult with you. I should see you." And so I'm honoring myself to see if I'm a good fit for you. And so it's not that, you know what I mean? Not that, I should see, oh, you're a therapist, you should see everybody. I don't think it should be like that. And so I'm honoring myself to see, okay, am I a good fit? Do I have the skills? Am I qualified for this person? Are we a good match? You know what I mean? Does our personality match? And so that's honoring myself, because I could be linked with somebody that I should have said no to. Um, so I think that that's important, and being distracted in that is not knowing who you are, and not knowing your needs and your preferences and things of that nature. So you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. She said, and this blew my mind when you said it. Like, we, how is it that we can? I'm losing it because of the announcement. Oh man. Oh, I'm honoring myself. How is it that we can honor ourselves? Can we, or not honor ourselves, because we trying to do something other than what God has told us to do? And so Marshae talks about, with her clients, she honors herself by saying, "Are we a good fit?" Do you know? Had I gotten that revelation dog, a decade ago, how many clients I wouldn't I wouldn't have seen. Because here's the thing, and this is me, like I'm just being honest about being honest, okay? We just talk about what we're talking about. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was a time and a place where I was coveting the time, I was coveting the position, I was coveting the money. Um, and I would even go as far to say there was a time when all of those things were in a place of idolization for me, right? And because I was idolizing it, the more clients I had, the better. I didn't care what your problem was. I didn't care if it was this, that, and the other. Now, like, you know, a decade later now, and I probably learned this lesson um within the last, you know, I would say probably 5 7 years. But it's just some folks I can't, it's not a good fit. It's not a good fit. And even when I talk to my coaching clients or like my coaching colleagues, I will ask the question, does that feel like it's in alignment to you? Does that feel like what God is telling you to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so important that we honor ourselves in
Mm-hmm.
how we work.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you look like you had something to say.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, I think I've learned that within the recent couple years because you get distracted with, oh, you want to help people or they have a need that you possibly can meet because you may have the multiple skills or you may have that skill, you may have the resources to help them. And so I think it's important that we recognize what it is that we need, what it is that we can honor ourselves, how can we honor ourselves, and so checking in with ourselves and saying, is this a yes, can we actually say yes.
I forgot to tell you, if something happens and I go off, just keep talking so it's no dead air. It don't look like you kept talking, but go ahead.
Oh, no, I thought that it was your turn. I thought it was just a technology thing. I was like, "Oh, she just put me on the screen," but I assumed that you just went off. Okay.
That's okay, good. Well, wonderful. You kept talking. No dead time. No dead air. Good morning, Diaji. Good morning. In the chat with us. Good morning. We're excited to be here. We're talking about distractions and we're talking about how there can be distractions to our first fruit, and it's so important for us to honor ourselves and how we choose to work, honor ourselves and who we choose to work with. Because a full clientele of the wrong people can be a distraction,
Ooh,
baby.
ooh.
You out here trying to figure out how to, why you exhausted all the time, why you can't move. Because what I find is when I am with those who I'm aligned with, it is life-giving.
Yes. Yes.
It's life-giving conversation. I look forward to it. Now I'm a good therapist and I can counsel, you know, just about any situation. Like I don't know that I found one that I was like super stumped by. But I have found those that don't work, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that I like, you know what I'm saying? I might have to go and do a little study, a little research or something to make sure that I, had the right treatment plan or whatever. But therapy is prescribed, right? And when I say prescribed, like there's a way in which we do it, there's a modality in which we follow. And so those things I could do. But baby, when I tell you if we let some stuff get in our way, it is so much more difficult to give God any fruits, let alone our first fruits.
Mhm.
Because for me it caused exhaustion and burnout, right? um but the good thing about God and the good thing about hope and leveraging hope is that recognizing that whether you at your lowest low or your highest high, there's always hope. So if you done got burnt out with something, you get to just stop. Like, I need y'all to hear me when I say that. You get to just stop. If something isn't working for you, just stop. And
Mhm.
I hear you thinking, y'all, I hear y'all thinking over these waves. But Joy, sometimes it's not that easy to just stop. Okay, but just stop anyway. Because I guarantee something will happen. Now, here's the thing. Now, don't go quit your job because Joy said just stop. That ain't what I'm talking about. That ain't what I'm saying because I can't feed you. Um, what I'm saying is, I want you to be aware that
Mhm.
you have choices. Now, you might have to put a plan in place to work yourself out of that space, right? I'd have put a many of plans in place to work myself out of spaces that didn't work. When it stopped working, it stopped working. And it is okay to be okay with it not looking like we think it should look, or not looking like, and most of the times it's when it doesn't look like others thinks it should look. It ain't even about what we think.
Mm.
What you got to say? I saw the change in your face.
Ooh, that was good. Is I like that. That's good. I mean, talk about, so it's so many things that you could say about that. Like, like sometimes our options may not look like what everybody else think. Like, why are you quitting your job? Why are you doing this? And so like it doesn't make sense to them. But like I think you're honoring yourself again, going back to that phrase, honoring yourself again. Sometimes it may not look like what everybody else thinks. And so how do you explain that? How do you rationalize with that? Because it is hard. Some people, like in the midst when I did go full-time private practice, many people are like, oh, what about benefits? What about this? What about that? And so like that was something that I thought about. But in the same time, I think that my yes to honor myself was still good.
Absolutely. Your yes to honor yourself is still good. And when we say yes to ourselves, and when we say yes to God, we can say yes to ourselves, and
Mm-hmm.
God honors the yes.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to always know the how. The how will unfold. When we give God our yes, the how will unfold. So, Marshae, thank you so much for being with us today. I want you to think about one thing that you want to lead the people with. And as you think about that, I just want to reiterate the announcements for today. We're giving away the book, Launch the Legacy. If you want the book, just put in the chat. I want that book. I wrote the first chapter. It's called Finally Living Your Dreams. And it's really about like this notion that like you can go your lifetime and not live your dreams because you haven't dreamt. Is dreamt the word? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't got spell check here. But
Okay.
you but you
We'll say
but you but you know what, I bet you knew what I meant though.
yeah.
I bet
Yeah.
you knew what I meant. Like, so, but you can spend your life. You can literally spend your life not doing what you want to do, not doing what God has called you to do because you haven't dreamed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this idea of dreaming so that you can live those dreams. And what I realize now is that I'm now reaping and living some things that I stopped, took a minute, and dreamed out. Right? Right. So if you want that book again, let me know you want that book. It's free. It ain't no nothing. All it is you let me know where to send it to. I'm not even making you pay postage, right? Because it is my birthday gift to you. Okay. And when those books are gone, I think it's four left. When those books are gone, we got some more stuff that we're gonna be giving away. So y'all, I'm excited about these giveaways. Got some shirts that's gonna be given away. Some services that's going to be given away. So we got a lot of things. Janelle, I see you. Good morning to you. Good morning. It's so good to see you this morning, virtually, of course. So for those of you that are going to catch this on the replay, I pray that God, that this has been a word for you, right? I pray that this has been something that is what you needed to hear. I pray that if you're distracted, that you will allow God to give you the peace that surpasses understanding. I pray that if you know that God is for you, that nobody really can be against you, and that those weapons that are formed, they cannot prosper. All right. So listen, begin to prioritize other people's preferences when they concern you, right? If you're the preference, it's okay for you to be the preference. We can't say I wish you that we shouldn't be their preference. No, sometimes we're the preference because we're good at whatever the thing is, and that's okay. But again, we get to prioritize that. Marshae, give us one thing that we can take away for today as we talked about distractions and first fruits. Whatever God is just dropping in you right now. What's the one thing we can take away?
Uh, I think that one of the things I can leave everybody is that like first fruits doesn't have to be that deep. And so one of the things that I'm learning that some of these principles and some of these things that we're doing, it doesn't have to be that deep. We make it deep because again, through distractions or barriers or other people saying, oh, this has to be this hard or it has to be this complicated, but just waking up and honoring God and asking God what it is that you have for my life. I think that, makes it easier and makes it simple. And so again, first fruit doesn't have to be that deep. It could just be that thing that you can honor God and sacrifice. And that could just be noticing that I shouldn't say yes today. You know what I mean? Noticing that I should go to sleep. I should do these things that are beneficial to me. And so again, I think that honoring yourself is way more important. So that way we don't necessarily have to get to distracting or have to get to this busy life or burnout. Burnout doesn't feel good. So honor yourself by noticing what it is that you need, and it doesn't have to be that hard, that deep.
let's stop making it hard. Let's stop making it hard, y'all. Like Marshae said, first truths don't have to be that hard and don't have to be that deep. It really is about how we love ourselves, how we love God, and by loving God, we wind up loving ourselves. Um, so y'all, listen, I've excited. I'm excited about having been here with you all today. And I'm gonna let y'all go and have y'all mornings. And so know that God really does love you. And not only does he love you, he likes you a whole lot. All right, y'all. Y'all be blessed and have a blessed and amazing day.